City.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
All the competition that try to compete.
Everything is spot on.
All right, Cam Newton or mac and cheese? Who's starting week 1? What you got, John?
Wait. Before John,
Is that like the real intro? That's all they try.
Yes, this is really. That's look. The only one mac and cheese is Pat Mahomes, bro, and it's Patty mac and cheese. Now we can continue with the segment. Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so I personally think that Mac Jones should be the week 1 starter because Mac Jones at this point, personally to me, is better than Cam Newton, right? I know that's not gonna go over well. I personally think right now Mac Jones is better than Cam Newton. The Kool-Aid can have a lot of sugar in it today because I'm loving Justin Fields, I'm loving Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is better than Cam Newton personally. So from a football standpoint, I should say I think Mac Jones should start week 1. But Cam Newton should be the week 1 starter for the Patriots. One, because he's already been in trenches with the team for a whole year. I think that team started off really well. We saw them, I think they beat the Dolphins week 1, and then they had that really good showing against Seattle. You know, the play calling at the end, you know, they running the ball, trying to run left, run right with Cam Newton. You know, they couldn't get in the end zone, but they almost beat the Seahawks. They started off really well, and I think with COVID, there's just a lot of things with the Patriots seasons last year. You know, Tom Brady leaving, they had like 9 opt-outs. So we didn't really know. Plus, the Patriots were still almost, you know, like a playoff team. They were kind of on the outside looking in up until the very end of the season. And so we didn't know what we were going to get out of the Patriots. I think Cam Newton, you see what he brings from a personality standpoint. The reports, you know, a lot of them are saying that he is the leader of the team. He's the leader of the locker room. And we know Cam Newton is the type of personality that can galvanize people around him. And I think when you saw what they did in the offseason, kind of bringing in those tight ends, bringing in some weapons, like really beefing up that offense, plus what they got back on defense, I think that was all centered around Cam Newton. I think that they drafted Mac Jones because he was available at 15. And like I said, I think Mac Jones is better than Cam Newton right now. We saw him throwing a lot of balls in the dirt last year. You know, I think they kind of relied on him to be a running quarterback more than a quarterback last year because that was their best offense. But like I said, I think Cam Newton is the leader of the team. And I think right now with Mac Jones being a rookie, he's not going to be able to carry that team to where they want to go. I think that team still has playoff implications. I think that they have a real strong chance to make the playoffs this year. I think that Bill Belichick thinks that's the playoff team. And the players in the locker room think that's a playoff team. And, you know, possibly they could even make it to the Super Bowl because they have the best coach in the league in Bill Belichick. So I think Mac Jones is a better quarterback right now, but I think Cam Newton is the leader of that locker room. I think he's the voice of that locker room. And therefore, I think he needs to hold down the QB1 position because this is a team that has playoff aspirations. And I think they have a real good chance to get there.
So John, I got a question. Now, you remember back around the time of the draft, we talked a lot about Mac Jones coming in and how Mac Jones throws to open receivers. So he's never really challenged to actually have to win football games, and how Mac Jones just randomly shot up to be a top 10 quarterback. Not only that, top 5 quarterback. Not only that, almost a top 3 quarterback in the draft. And now Mac Jones is good enough to start for the New England Patriots. You with that, John? I'm just
my criticism of Mac Jones. Was that he never trailed in the second half this whole year, right? He never trailed in the second half, and so he didn't have to face much adversity. But I'm not saying he should go out there and be the week 1 starter. I think Cam Newton is the voice. I think just purely as a quarterback, Mac Jones is better than Cam Newton right now. But that doesn't mean that, you know, there's nuances to the game, right? Cam Newton is an MVP. He's been a starter, you know, for over a decade. You know what I mean? I think Cam Newton is best for that team. I just think Mac Jones is a better quarterback right now, a better thrower of the football. I can get real technical. Like, you know, a better thrower of the football right now than Cam Newton. But Cam Newton is QB1 in New England.
Well, yeah.
And Mac Jones is the future. Every quarterback that got drafted this year is the future.
I just wanted to make sure you was going to acknowledge that, and I'm glad that you did. Okay, I'm up in the air as far as who needs to start in New England. I mean, I want Cam to be able to get an actual chance, given that there's an actual training camp, given that he has time to actually mesh with an offense. hopefully no COVID instances come up again, especially with him, because I know they hurt him a lot last season. But he has a chance to reintegrate himself in a Josh McDaniels offense, right? An offense that can really put up points, an offense that can be tailored around him to run or become hopefully a better thrower of the football as the preseason continues. Obviously, I do have some concerns about his health. I definitely think he has regressed from this MVP stage, and we're talking almost 6 years ago now, right? It's been a lot of football between then and now, and clearly no player from that time is relatively the same. And of course, I think that for Cam Newton, and hopefully, I'm actually pulling for him not to have struggles. I would like to see Mac Jones, John, as we were laughing about earlier, in a atmosphere where he has to kind of will his team back to win. But because I haven't seen that, I have no proof of concept. So I can't rock with Mac. I'm gonna go with Cam. Cam. Ooh, Cam. He gonna do it. He gonna dab for us, y'all. Go ahead.
So John made a good point. In that well, I can't even remember what you said now. Anyway, I'm rolling with Cam for the starting spot. I feel like John made a good point earlier in saying that, the Patriots brought in players to surround Cam Newton and his style of play. And so I think Cam should have an opportunity to play with those guys and see how it worked. Tony brought up the COVID factor and how that was a big issue for them and practicing and things like that. And so I think Cam
Yeah.
and Fields work him into work Mac Jones into play under Cam Newton and then see how it goes from there. But Cam is my week one starter.
And I was saying, Cam Newton, we haven't seen that version of Cam since 2018, right? Like the Cam Newton that we love and remember. And, we're now 3 years removed from that. And we saw stretches of it last year. He had COVID. I think that just kind of relying on Cam Newton at this point to be a 17-game starter and to go out there and just kind of continually raise the level of play of your football team, I think that's asking a lot of him. But I also don't think Mac Jones can do that right now as well. I think that the formula they had last year is what they'll continue to do this year. Just run first, kind of run the ball a lot with Cam Newton, a lot of design runs, a lot of trickery in that way. And then just kind of attack the ball over the middle, like do the things that Cam Newton kind of has always done well. I don't think we'll see him throwing the ball a lot down the field, outside the numbers. It'll be a lot of inside the numbers, power run game. And I think that's going to be the team's best path to success this year. But I think ultimately Mac Jones is the future, and I think he is a better thrower of the football. But like I said, I think Cam Newton still brings so much value on and off the field to that football team, and that's why he should be the starter this year.
And I'll say this last thing, point you mentioned earlier, like it's definitely important to realize that the Patriots were missing 9 starters last season. That is huge for a team that's not affected by injury, but just purely players not being on the team. So I think they're going to be a much better Patriots team than we saw last year, regardless of which quarterback starts.
And I also like to say, I think what happens here is about Bill Belichick's reaction to Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl in another uniform. Tom Brady won one on different team the first year. Now Bill Belichick, after COVID, be it he lost starters and he had a new quarterback, but now he has a quarterback that's a former MVP who I don't think has had a chance to prove he is still that, because last year was a COVID year and he had COVID and all this stuff, no training camp. So I think one, you could attack it with a quarterback that has the potential and has already shown that he can be a great quarterback with some pieces they added in free agency. Or you can go another route with your ego and say, look, I got a guy that resembles you. I'm not going to say Mac Jones is the next Tom Brady, but he's not mobile. He'll hit the open receiver. He does certain things. He's smart, so they say. So I think it's 2 ways Bill Belichick can tackle his ego. He can put a guy out there that resembles Tom Brady, maybe not win as many games, or he can attack it another way and make the playoffs without Tom Brady. Y'all tell us what y'all think. I personally think Cam Newton. What you got, John?
I was going to say one thing really quick. We saw sometimes last year, I don't know if it was just play or whatever, Bill Belichick wasn't afraid to bench Cam Newton, right?
That's
and
true.
So even if Cam Newton goes out there, I think if Cam Newton is not executing that offense, because I one thing, we could talk about Mac Jones' limitations as far as him being a runner. He's not as athletic. But one thing we know Mac Jones is going to do, he's going to find the open receiver and he's going to make the right read, right? He's that type of quarterback. I would not be surprised if, and Josh McDaniels might be behind it as well, Bill Belichick, if Cam Newton struggles, they might be quick to take him out and put Mac Jones in. So that's another thing to factor as well.
Definitely a lot of things to consider. Y'all tell us what y'all think in the comment section. I got Cam week 1, but who knows what's going on with the rest of the season. Don't forget to like it up, subscribe. We'll see y'all next time, SOS Discussions.
We thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check out more shows here on this YouTube page, such as SOS Discussions or My Point Exactly. And most of all,
keep watching Spot on Sports!
it's a new wave of sports that's sweeping the nation. We're not just accurate, it's spot on.